Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Simone, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to have you here as a guest.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I like following your posts on LinkedIn. Your content's good. It's very good.
Thank you so much, and right back at you. I'm really enjoying these video casts that you are doing, and very excited to be a part of it now.
Amazing. Appreciate it. It'd be good to I'm guessing most people in the Mendix community might know who you are, but it'd be still good to have a bit of an introduction about a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
So a bit about me. Well, my name is Simone Mink. That we already gathered. I am from the Netherlands. I live in Rotterdam. Well, I work at Mendix for 8.5 years already, but I do things outside of Mendix as well, thankfully. I'm a big lover of music. So we have the Mendix band. Well, that's still Mendix where I sing.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
also,
cool. Okay.
yeah, I'm the lead singer of
You need to post some videos on LinkedIn.
I'm not sure if our song selection is suitable.
Oh, really? Okay. You can beep it out. You can beep it out.
But let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do things like yoga and the usual workout stuff, and then cello lessons as well. That's the hobby of this year. That and diving.
Wow. Very range of things you're into, which is it's good. It's good to have a lot outside of, even though the band is within the office, it's still good to have things outside of the office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it'd be good to kind of also obviously, professional wise go into we know you work for Mendix. It'd be good to understand you know, what you do at Mendix, your role, and kind of, what that kind of brings to the business.
I'm a digital execution practice lead at Mendix. That means that I create thought leadership content like playbooks, articles, and programs like our master classes and sales enablement plans. Well, to life, I create that. And I think also about how to best bring DEP, so our digital execution practice, which is our methodology for digital transformation, to our platform and our customers. And I'm really excited about this role. It's a great place to be in. You get to talk to a lot of people and share knowledge and really help customers get their digital transformation journey right, which is important, of course.
Yeah, that's amazing. And rewinding back into, go back prior to Mendix, it'd be good to understand a bit of your career, where it started, prior to, when you got to Mendix and kind of how you've got to that point.
Yeah. So I started my career as a software developer, what I would now call a high coder.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually study anything IT related. I rolled into tech. Well, let's call it a happy accident.
Okay.
I graduated or wrote my graduation thesis at Rotterdam Zoo. And
Okay.
yeah, it was a great place to be.
Yeah.
Surrounded by animals. Like I walked in every morning and you would hear the lions roar.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah.
Nice. But my thesis was around digitalization of education in the zoo. And that's how I sort of landed my first tech gig, because we had a small web company from Rotterdam as a technical advisor for our thesis. And they said, hey, would you like to come work for us after you graduated? So I did. I learned web development basically on the job and
Wow.
never looked back.
Wow. And how was that process? Because obviously I'd say majority of people obviously do a computer science degree or something before they come in. How was that process of learning on the job?
I really enjoyed it. I think for me as a kid, and I had that conversation with my mother not too long ago. She
Yeah.
said, only we'd encouraged you more as a kid with your love for computers instead of tell you to
Yeah.
go outside. But yeah, I guess I always had that sort of
Yeah.
geek in me
Mm.
that was just waiting to come out. And the minute I started writing code, it was just like everything like fell into place, and I just discovered this thing that I was naturally good at.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, it felt like coming home a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And what programming language were you working with?
so I started out with just HTML, CSS. That
Okay.
was like the first two websites. And then we quickly moved on into PHP and JavaScript. And I
Mm.
did that so I really was like a web-based developer, mostly front end, some back end stuff as well.
Mm.
And I did that for about 5 years before I joined the ranks of low code.
Yeah. And yeah, kind of going into that, what was your kind of first impressions of, low code when you kind of came across it?
um this may have to be edited out. The first time I got introduced to low code Mendix was when a friend of mine asked me, Simone, can you help me? I want to learn this new development platform. It's called low code. Um, you are like a software developer. Can you
Yeah.
help me with this? And I think I took one look at it. Well, we tried for like an hour or something, and I was
Yeah.
like, why would you want this? Just learn how to develop properly.
Yeah.
My first impression, I was still very much in love with writing code at that
Yeah.
point, right? So I was like, nah, like any the how to say it, the standard resistance that we see now
Yeah.
with like coders, like, nah, I don't want this.
Yeah.
I was like that as well. Fast forward, I think 1 or 2 years, and I was not so much in love with coding anymore.
Mhm.
And I started looking for jobs, and I knew two things. I wanted to stay in tech because
Yeah.
that's I think the one of the big loves in my life
Mhm.
is technology. But I wanted to work more with people, not sit behind a screen anymore,
Yeah.
40 hours a week. Uh, well, post COVID, the irony is palpable, but
Yeah.
um, and I saw this job as technical trainer at Mendix, and I applied, got the job, thankfully. And I think the first time I sat through the rapid development course, so the introduction level course
Mhm.
myself, I had this aha moment where I thought, oh, I have wasted so much time in my life writing the same lines of code over and over again and debugging things. And I've built something here in 5 minutes that would have
Mhm.
taken maybe an hour or more in my previous life. And I think that's the moment that I fell in love with low code. And I have not looked back since. I think I would feel as though I was cheating myself and my values if I would ever go back to high coding.
So your perception definitely changed then from the beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely, like
Yeah.
180.
Yeah. And when you were applying for these jobs, and obviously you applied to Mendix, and you'd obviously heard of Mendix now because you had a friend, learning it. Did you at any point think, it probably helped because you were in the Netherlands and it's a Dutch company, but at any point did you think, okay, this low code thing, because your first experience was like, I'm not sure. Did you think, okay, if I apply for this company, that could not be good for my career because many people like me are not sure about low code?
I didn't think about it in that way back
Mm,
then because I also didn't have that. Well, I mean, I could have sort of, I guess, anticipated that more
mm,
people feel the same way that I did initially. But for me at the time, it felt like the opportunity for me to get out of the world of coding, but
yeah.
stay in that software world that I cared so much about. So I never thought about it that way, to be honest,
Mm,
at that
mm.
time.
Yeah, yeah. And luckily you didn't because it may have stopped you, right?
Yes, my life would have been so different.
Yeah. And you talk about obviously, follow your posts a lot on LinkedIn and you talk a lot about digital transformation. So it'd be good to kind of get in your words how you define digital transformation.
Yeah. Yeah, so digital transformation, of course, I always look at it through the lens of low code, right?
Mm,
Um, so digital transformation for me is how can you leverage low code to enable, in this case, we enable our customers, but as an
mm,
organization to transform your processes, become more agile, become more sustainable and resilient for the future, right? In this world where everything is
mm.
around
Yeah,
digitalization, but then do it so much faster and easier with low code, and then especially with our methodology, so digital execution practice, to do it the right way, because
yeah,
it's more than just tech. Like if you
yeah,
just digital transformation as, oh, I'm introducing new
yeah.
technology, you will fail.
Mm, mm, mm. And what's some kind of initiatives that Mendix have put in place to kind of help with that?
Well, the DEP is
Yeah,
our initiative to
yeah.
help with that. Would you like me to tell you a little bit more
Yeah,
about?
it'd be good to go into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So our methodology basically comes from us seeing our customers struggle with digital transformation over the, what is it, almost 2 decades that we've
Mm,
been around. And our methodology started taking shape about 10 years ago. And if you look at companies like McKinsey and Gartner, right, they subscribe to this as well, or they've proven it, that I think the latest stats are from McKinsey. It's 16%, so only 16%
yeah.
of organizations say that they are successful in their digital transformation. So that's a self-assessment.
Mm,
Boston Consultancy Group said it's around 30% last year, but
uh,
it's a lot of companies that aren't getting it right.
yeah.
And we saw that as well. And we also saw that that is not because of it's just a technology problem. In fact, it's a lot more than that. We see that if you're just introducing technology, there are other factors that you need into consideration or need to take into consideration that are equally important, if not more important. So we talk about our 5 Ps. So
Mm,
that is people, portfolio, process, platform, and promotion. And all of these Ps have key objectives and milestones that you need to hit at different stages in time through your journey to become successful. And that's where the second part of our methodology comes into play, the 3S, start, structure.
mm,
So when you're just starting out, you want to get to that first quick win really quickly, to prove that what you're doing with low code, with your journey is working, and prove that to the rest of your organization to get them on board. Because change is hard.
yeah.
And a big part of what we do is around change management. How
Mm,
to get people excited about what you're doing? How do you get people to not feel that natural discomfort that comes with
yeah.
change? How do you convince your CXO to invest in this so you can grow your capability and transform more of your organization? And all of that combined is what we call our
Yeah.
deep technology.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. And can you kind of go a bit deeper into kind of some success stories with businesses that Mendix have come into and really added this value for them you don't have to mention the customer name, but just kind of a bit more detail into some examples.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we have many success stories. And I would recommend anyone who's interested in that to check out our customer stories page. My colleague Karina.
Plenty on there.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's stories like I can mention a few, like Schwartz. Obviously, Siemens is a big
Yep.
one. Is our parent company.
Yes.
It'd be weird if they wouldn't use
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
information. Um, Gemeente Rotterdam, and Nexus. There are so many examples of companies that have built tens, if not hundreds of applications with Mendix and have created immense value for their organization. And it's really interesting now also to see the combination of technical innovation that's happening now as well. So a recent customer example that we highlighted was Vivix, a company that, well, it's a glass manufacturer. And they've built some really interesting use cases combining Mendix with other technologies and machine learning and generative AI, yeah, to transform their business.
And you mentioned it just then, AI is kind of on everyone's lips,
Yeah.
for it's I don't know how long it'll be the buzzword for, but it's something that is really kind of spoken about a lot. Is that something that comes up, is that something that when you guys are speaking to customers is also kind of the main topic of discussion?
I don't know if it's the main topic of discussion, but it's definitely a point
Yeah.
of discussion. And at Mendix as well, we are looking at how can we leverage this to make
Mm,
the lives of our customers better. So we have
mm,
integrated machine learning and well, artificial intelligence general
yeah.
capabilities into the platform or into Studio Pro, and then collaborating with AWS, right,
Mm,
to leverage Bedrock.
yeah.
So it's a focus point for us as well, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I love yeah, I think I spend a lot of my time on ChatGPT
Oh,
nowadays.
really? Okay.
Also for my personal life, like
Yeah.
I checked this. It's actually funny. A friend of mine, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but I
Yeah.
think it's an example. A friend of mine, he's a sommelier,
Yeah.
uh, and I put into ChatGPT like, what's a good wine for den noodles that I was
Yeah.
making? Gave me a list, and I sent it to my friend. He said, I'm out of a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can help a lot. Yeah, definitely. And talking about obviously, digital transformation and the implementation, what are some, sometimes common challenges that you can face, and how do you tend to deal with that?
Yeah, so what we hear a lot from our customers and what we see in the field, it's a couple of challenges, and I take it back to our 5P methodology, right? It's people. Where do I find people? There's a developer shortage in the market, and that's
Mm,
true for low code developers as well. So that's a challenge. Thankfully, we have a lot of good people coming fresh from universities
yeah.
to train and enable. But it's also that topic of how do I get people on board with this change that I'm introducing? That
Mm,
that that remains a challenge for any type of change. It is how do I establish a good portfolio? Which applications should I focus on first? How does that come, or how does that play with the rest of my technical landscape? Right, we hardly ever come across a greenfield situation. Mostly it's
yeah.
brownfield. So
Mm,
yeah, it needs to play nice
yeah.
with the rest of the tech stack. Usually, well, thankfully that's what we're good at, integrating with other software.
Yeah.
Working agile, I it still surprises me that not everyone works agile.
Yeah.
It's and I thought, maybe it's very naive of me, right? But when I stopped working as a developer, and I used to work agile, and I
Mm,
came into Mendix, I thought the whole world must be doing this. But
yeah. Yeah.
today, not everyone works agile. So that's a challenge if you want to quickly iterate and if you want to build value fast, you have to have the right practice there as well. And we see that a lot of people struggle with promotion. And
Mm,
promotion is really important because you want to showcase the value of what you're doing to your organization, to the world. Doing internal PR really helps getting people on board with your change. Community building helps with finding new talent, finding new ideas, right? That innovation capability, a lot of that comes from community and hackathons, for example.
yeah.
And these are the type of things that we try to help customers with as well.
Yeah. And you touched on people, and obviously us as a business, that's something we focus on quite a bit. And like you said, there's really good graduates coming through. I'm interested to kind of know, your opinion on the side of obviously there's experienced developers that, we find is usually the preference versus graduates to come and learn the platform. Do you find it's with the Mendix platform, it is suited to citizen development?
Absolutely. I would say like I started out as a tech trader at Mendix, right? Like I'm in my fourth role now already well, I've been here for a long time. But the first 3.5 years of my life,
Yeah,
I spent training people on Mendix and creating those training materials. And to me, as long as you have an aptitude for technology, but mostly for thinking through problems, like it's a thought process that you need to learn, and you don't necessarily have to be a high coder to be good at that. I've
yeah,
seen a lot of examples of people that had no technical background whatsoever. I mean, I am one of those people.
yeah.
And some of our MVPs, like I think of Kasia Maximiak, who I think
Yes, I spoke to her. Yes,
exactly,
yes.
she's one of those examples as well. People that have become incredibly successful at what they do without having that background. So I think we as well as the world need to let go of that
Mm,
idea a little bit. Why I hesitate when saying citizen development, I don't
mm.
believe that you should just give everyone um, free range
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like you have to have some governance in place
yeah.
as an organization in your center of excellence that gives people guardrails to
Mm.
citizen development the right way, so you don't expose yourself unnecessarily to shadow IT and potential harm.
Sure, sure. So as we know, obviously there's a lot of graduates in the Netherlands who take up Mendix. Do you find that's the same? And that's because obviously it's homegrown technology, so it's similar to kind of I'd say art systems in Portugal, where a lot of people in Portugal, but now I see a lot of Mendix people in Portugal actually. But do you find in other regions the graduate kind of program is also adopted quite well with end customers? Because we find our experience, a lot of customers will come to us and say, we want 3, 4, 5 years experienced people. Do you find in other regions outside of Netherlands that it's they're more open to that because of the way the Mendix platform is, or is it still a bit of reluctance?
Well, I think we're doing pretty good actually on a global scale. I have to think for the exact numbers, and
Mm.
I hope my academy call will not shoot me for this. But top of my head, I think we have over 180 universities worldwide
Wow.
that have Mendix in their
Wow.
curriculum, and over 300 or so professors that are teaching Mendix. And we see that so in Europe, but also in the US and in Asia. Malaysia is a really good
Yeah.
example where even the government is
Mm.
supporting that. So we're definitely creating a really good level of or amount of fresh talent that knows about Mendix. Um, and again, I think as a company taking on a graduate or fresh grad and teaching them Mendix, even if they have zero experience with Mendix.
Yeah.
We've done a talent program. I created a talent program at Mendix where we would take fresh graduates and we would put them through. First, it was a 6-month program. Then we extended it to 12 months, which was like rad boot camp.
Mm.
Then you start developing your first app in a sort of trainee factory
Yeah.
line. Then you go into the actual app factory and start working on the existing portfolio. Within 6 months, you're advanced certified. Within 12 months, they would be ready to teach the new batch of trainees,
Oh,
basically.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And those were people that were coming from all kinds of backgrounds, and all of them have found a spot in Mendix or in the Mendix wider ecosystem. And it's amazing to see, but it just proves like you don't need that background in IT,
Mm.
and you can get people up to that level where you want them really quickly with the right enablement.
Yeah. And with Mednex, as a platform, is there kind of, we find by speaking to people, obviously, and you've mentioned as well, and even when I speak to end customers, about their journey with low code, and they're all skeptical at the beginning, and how do you, usually kind of when you're in those discussions with these type of customers, how do Mendix kind of position themselves as, the right option? Obviously, there's certain things you might say we're not the right option for, but kind of how do you compete with, let's say, other platforms and also traditional development?
Really good question. So let's start with the traditional development one,
Yeah,
because that's an easy one. We hear it like, oh, we could do this with traditional development,
yeah,
but can you really? Like,
yeah,
can you really build this many, let's say 100 applications in this amount of time, and then also take into consideration it's not just development, it's also
mm,
maintenance, like keeping things up and running. Can you really handle the same amount of the same portfolio size with this many people
yeah,
with traditional coding? I think not.
yeah, yeah,
I know not.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've seen it.
yeah.
Then when it comes to other low-code platforms, of course, I'm going to say we are the best, and I strongly believe that. But there is space for different platforms out there.
Sure.
What I would say is, if you are serious about building enterprise-grade applications that can handle complexity, then you need Mendix.
Mm,
There
okay,
are there are solutions out there that if you're just automating an Excel sheet, yeah, you could probably do that with a different local platform as well.
sure.
But like really those complicated solutions where you're automating or just digitalizing workflows and complicated processes with the right level of security, yeah, we are your go-to option.
Amazing, amazing.
I should be in.
And yeah, you should. Yeah, yeah, definitely. You could we'll cut this clip and we can, for your next position, we can share it. And as someone who was really skeptic about low code before, you now obviously you're well into it, you're convinced, and you love it. What would be your message to those who still today don't believe, who believe low code is only for small internal business apps, and not kind of traditionals the way? What would be your message to those haters out there?
Just try it. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. And look at it this way, like there's things that you could still build. I mean, you can extend our platform in all kinds of ways. You could build new widgets or whole new modules, and even now extensions of Studio Pro. There are still plenty of opportunities where you can code to your heart's content inside of Mendix as well. But then all the things that you don't really care that much about, those things that are either, well, super complicated, that could be a lot easier, or that are repetitive, the things that aren't that exciting, just low code. Try
Yeah,
it. You'll
yeah,
save up so much time and so much of your brain space to be able to do other things that are interesting and exciting. And I
yeah.
think in general, building software is exciting. And I think my first ever manager, or the second one, said any good developer is lazy.
Okay.
Be lazy. Be a good developer.
Yeah,
Low
yeah.
code.
Yeah. I guess the goal is the end product, right? It doesn't matter how you get there. It's about, and if you can get there quicker and by doing less work, then I think it's not
Exactly.
even developers, anyone who's lazy and can get the product done
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and also just thinking back on like debugging or going back into your code months later, let alone like 2 years later, I vividly remember that sense of panic I felt when I looked at like 1,500 or 3,000 lines of code and thought to myself, I know I wrote this,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
And I need to change something, or something is broken and I need to figure out what. And then, oh, and then the beauty with low code is you just look at it and it always makes sense, right? So you save so much time there as well from a maintenance perspective or debugging. It's so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm interested to know, when, especially when obviously a new customer takes on Mendix and they might have a existing traditional team. Have you ever had kind of conversations with a customer who's struggling to convince the existing team that they're going to move forward with low code and they're going to try and obviously train the existing developers, but they're kind of pushing back on it?
Yeah, we hear those stories. I myself haven't had those conversations
Mm,
with a customer, but I've heard them. And what I would say is, if you can't convince them, spin up a separate team.
mm,
See if you can find a couple of people that are interested, right? That
mm,
want to try this, that have that aptitude for it. Maybe even consider working with a partner.
mm.
Uh, if you have zero experience
Yeah,
with low code, and get that success. And everyone wants to be a part of
yeah, of
success,
course. Yeah,
right? So I think even the hardest resistance, and some people just can't be won over. That's just also a
yeah,
fact.
yeah,
If this is your strategy, if you believe in this, go for it and prove that it works. And people will become curious and they'll want to be a part of that naturally.
yeah, yeah. Good advice. And just, as a kind of final note, is there anything kind of outside of Mendix, kind of personal initiatives or thing? I know I saw you're kind of heavily involved in women in tech, and things like that. So is there anything other than, outside of your main role that you're kind of focused on and, looking forward to?
And there's a couple of things that I'm passionate about topics. Women in tech is for sure a one. As a woman in tech, I have firsthand experience the struggles of being a woman in tech. And I think a big goal of mine is to lift up women around me and make it easier for everyone that comes after me.
Yeah.
See?
Pave the way.
Pave the way. Yes,
Pave
thank
the
you.
way.
Pave the way. We are not there yet. There's still quite a bit of well, improvements to make. And we need diversity in tech, right?
Mm,
Diversity helps for innovation. Other topics I'm really passionate about is LGBTQIA plus rights and neurodiversity.
yeah.
I'm part of our neurodiversity employee resource group leadership team. I am neurodivergent myself. Um, I call them beautiful minds, our neurodivergent people, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of upsides to it as well. So those are the three topics that I would say I am very vocal
Yeah.
about advocating for. Yeah.
And it's good. It's good that there's that those three things you're happy and openly to speak about them, because I think it's better to talk about it than kind of just accept it and go on about your day quietly.
Yeah, 100%.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. It was really good conversation, and hopefully we meet one day in the future at an event somewhere in the world. I'm sure we'll cross paths.
Yeah, that would be very nice to see you in person.
Yes,
And
definitely.
thank you for having me. This has been a really nice conversation. So thank
It was
you.
really great. Thank you. Thanks, Simone.
All right.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by iTrack. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.